What is up? Welcome in to the Lambeau Speak, episode number 15. This is the Week 1 Victory Show. I can't believe Bobby and I are sitting here tonight. We're so pumped up after a dominating victory. Bobby, how you feeling, buddy?
I mean, it couldn't have gone any better. I mean, we had a lot of questions coming into the season. How is Jordan Love going to perform? And, going up to the Sunday night football game, he has the most passing touchdowns and the highest passer rating of any quarterback that's played so far. So feeling pretty good.
Yeah. I after you texted me the first drive, I was like, okay, here we go. And I expected a little more pushback. That didn't happen.
No. Like we were talking in the pre-show, like after the first quarter, I was like, oh man, like maybe the Bears and Packers will be on like a even playing field and it'll kind of start to feel like a rivalry again. And no, the wheels came off the cart for the Bears pretty fast in the second quarter.
I don't remember a dominating victory like that in a long time.
Yeah, because even last year, there was times the Bears had the lead against an Aaron Rodgers-led Packers team, and the Bears didn't lead at all in this game.
No, but hey, it is what it is. So, anyways, before we get going too much, you can find me on Twitter at Nate_Dirt19. You can find Bobby at Bobby A Winner on Twitter as well. This is a Toilet Styles Podcast Network production. We're pumped to be coming to you guys live. This is how it's going to be the rest of the season. We've been recording midweek and coming out on Thursdays. But yeah, going forward, we're going to be coming out, whether it's Thursday night, Monday night, or Sunday. This is how we're going to roll from now on. So yeah, please check the show out. You can find us on Twitter at Toilet Styles on the Twitter. You can find all our content, everything we got on toiletstyles.com. All of our articles, mock drafts, player rankings, whatever you want to find, it's there. If you're checking us on YouTube, like we hope you are, hit the like and subscribe button. We have 17 shows, which is incredibly wild to me this season. So check all of them out. It's every night, every day, all the time. Toilet Styles has something going on, so check it out. And also, if you're into college football, I was watching Coach Shep's sitting in a press box at the Army game Saturday, which is just wild to me. So, but yeah, check out our sister network, CFB Nation. Check out their YouTube channel. They have tons going on all the time. He was there. There was people at Virginia, Boston College. I can't name all the games they were at, and I feel bad saying that, but every night, like I said, those guys are busting their ass. So check them out, please. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the little bell. I think I already said that. Sorry. I'm just too fired up from today. I seriously can't even get over how it went. So, and last but not least, if you are wanting to talk to the team and everything, hit us up. We can get you in the Guilded chat. There's like 250 some people on it probably now, at least well over 200 anyways. Talking fantasy football, NFL football, gambling, whatever it is, we're talking about it. So hit us up if you want to be a part of it. So let's get into it. So the game, it couldn't have started any better. The Bears got the ball. They went for it on fourth down, and didn't get it. And then we got the ball back, and then I thought Love looked great on the first drive. I don't know what you thought. Yeah. Obviously, probably the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when you have a turnover on downs like that, like anytime you can score off of a turnover, I mean, that's ideal, right? Like, and Dobbs had actually 2 touchdowns in that game. That first one went to Dobbs, and it was huge. It was huge that Dobbs was able to play because both him and Christian Watson were both on the injury report during the week. And I was really nervous that we were going to be going into it without both of them. But Dobbs being able to play clearly was huge for us, having 2 touchdowns. And I mean, he clearly looks like the best wide receiver that we have outside of Christian Watson. So, and actually, speaking of which, like even Torrey had a couple of catches in that, and Jaden Reed looked like a natural out there. He was very impressive.
Well, I wouldn't say natural. There was a couple drops where I was pretty disappointed, but the catches he did make were awesome. And a punt return, by the way, that punt return was phenomenal.
But the catches that he did have, they were crucial catches. Like most of his catches came on third down. Yep. And it's like, that was kind of like Randall Cobb's role over the years or whatever. Yes. It was like, so it was funny, like we called him kind of the Randall Cobb replacement, but that was kind of like how they used him in this game. Was like on third down, he was looking for him, and more often than not, he showed up, which was very impressive, being a rookie thrown into a featured role in his first game. So yeah, I was really impressed with how he played, even given the rookie mistakes or whatever. But I mean, Jordan Love was just lighting it up, man. He performed better than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, I don't even know. I was sitting there at my friend's house. We're watching the game, and we just kept looking at each other like we didn't know what to say, what to think. You know, you're watching. You're just like, holy shit! Like,
is this actually happening?
Yeah, that's, you know, it's like, is this real life? You know, just lighting them up, and it was so much fun. I did get a little concerned when Aaron Jones just kind of left the game in like the second quarter. You know, we were so successful just running the ball, well, not to the left side, to the right side, up the middle, just nonstop. And then they kind of went away from that. And then after halftime, kind of seemed like we got back into it and just looked so dominant. Hopefully, you know, Aaron Jones is going to be okay. I haven't heard anything since. I had you.
No, and actually, you know, the on-field reporter was saying that, you know, that he felt okay, but I could tell, like, even if he was fine and ready to go back in, there was really no reason to put him back in there. You know what I mean? At that point, the game had gotten out of, the game was out of hand. You know what I mean? Like, why even risk him aggravating anything or making it worse? Like, we still have AJ Dillon, you know what I mean? Even Patrick Taylor, you know, was carrying the ball fine. Like, it was just, you just didn't need to put him back in there. So hopefully he'll be okay. But, you know, that was one question we had going into the season, or at least I did, you know, is like, when is Aaron Jones going to start to slow down and show his age? Not right now. You know what I mean? He's like a fine wine, man. He just gets better with time. Like, don't get me wrong, he was great on his rookie contract, but like, ever since he got paid, I can't think of any other running back that has lived up to their contract the way that Aaron Jones has. You know, every team hopes to pay a running back and have them perform like Aaron Jones has on his. Jordan Love now owns Chicago. Absolutely. Yeah, the deed's been passed, right? So I guess that was breaking news. Aaron Rodgers secretly signed over the deed to Jordan Love, and we're just now finding out about it. So
hell yeah. George, by the way, that game, the Dolphin Chargers game, was wild and a blast to watch. I mean, I was sitting there like one eye on each screen at my buddy's house watching it. Was so much fun. Durham Smythe is a dog.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if anybody probably nobody owns him in fantasy sports ever, but if you don't, you got it now. Cause
I was going to say, he's going to be
dude. One of my best friends is a big Dolphins fan. So like, I'm like, yeah, that's your guy, dude. He's like, who's number 80? I'm like, it's Durham Smythe. We all know that. We were dying. But yeah, that ball game was wild as well. A little more going on than the beatdown of the Bears, which feels so good to say. I'm sorry. I feel bad saying that, but
because like everybody was thinking, you know, with all the hype around the Bears, like, I don't know if you saw, like, on Fox, you know, they always have the Fox crew like pick who they think is going to win the game. Every single one of them picked the Bears. Like, everybody was falling over all this Bears hype and the Justin Fields hype, and I was like, you know, like, obviously as an objective person, you could say, okay, yeah, they're going to be better than last year. You know what I mean? But how much better? Like, I still thought that the Packers were going to win, you know what I mean? But like, there's always that little bit of like creeping doubt that sets in, and you're like, oh my God, is he going to make a really solid year 3 leap? You know, like, are the Bears going to come out ready to play, you know, because it's the Packers? Like, are they going to come out looking to capitalize on the fact that Aaron Rodgers is not on this team anymore? And it's like, no, no. The Packers showed up with
like dog
plan. Yeah.
Oh, it was so much fun. I can't get over the, you know, just and all. There was a couple hiccups here and there, but I mean, all 3 levels of the game. You know, special teams look great, which we haven't in so long.
Yeah.
You know, I was every time Durs was kicking, whether it was an extra point. You know,
I held my breath.
Practice today, or whatever, it was just exciting to watch.
For sure. He was
you know,
perfect. He hit every field goal. He hit every extra point. And I was like, you know what? He just might be a gamer. You know what I mean? He might
He's
just
ready.
be one of those guys that maybe he was just trying stuff out because it's practice or whatever, because like, dude, like he kicked and he was great. You know what I mean? Like that was one of the things I'd written down. You know, I was taking notes during a Packers game. It's just so silly. But, you know, some of the things, it's like, obviously Fields, you know, Fields was going to produce. He was always going to, you know, get a couple of runs and everything. And like, there's times I'm watching the game, I'm like, God, they just can't get this dude on the ground. You know what I mean? Like I don't care who it is. You just can't tackle him the first tackle.
Was it like a 3rd and long when they were in there deep in their end zone, and or a 2nd and long maybe, and like broke like 4 or 5 tackles, and you're like, Jesus criminy, like, you know, and I mean, obviously it didn't matter, but gosh darn, he is something else to watch. There was a couple times where you watch, and I don't know, like he never really threw the ball downfield, which was very weird to me. You know, I expected that more. You know, they were saying how, you know, they were going to pass the ball more, whatever, this, that, and the other. And they never really did, it seemed like. You know, there was a couple, you know, whether it was an out route or, you know, some short passes, some screens, things like that, but they never really threw the ball downfield, you know, early in the game like I expected them to. And I don't know if that was because the defense or what it was, but I mean, we got a lot of pressure on Justin Fields. Luke Van Ness is very fast, by the way. That sack he had, I did not know he was that quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was one of the things too. I was like, all right, because Justin Fields is so fast, you know what I mean? Like in order to get him, like when he's out of the pocket, you know, Lucas Van Ness is like the perfect person to have. Like him and Gary, you know what I mean? Because they're both awesome freak athletes. Like we have 2 outside linebackers that are just perfect for playing against him. You know what I mean? Like Green Bay like clearly had that in mind when they were thinking like, all right, cool, this guy's going to run all over the place. We're just going to get really fast outside linebackers. It's kind of like what the Packers did in the 90s when the Vikings drafted Randy Moss. You know, they just started drafting corner after corner after corner until they had something that they could try to contain them. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, like clearly that had to have been a thought when they were thinking that, you know, like, hey, we got to get this freak athlete. Like there's not too many people at this position that could do that kind of stuff. And that was an excellent sack. I mean, they sacked him 4 times. They, you know, in the 3rd quarter, when the game got out of hand, they started putting rookies in, and even Carl Brooks had a sack. Like, I was like, yeah, man, pumped. Let's go. It was awesome, dude.
It was just, you know, and like I'm not sorry, but like, you know, it was just a beat down, but there were so many good plays that you could talk about. Whether it was, you know, like I said, it was a beat down. I don't have any other words to say besides that.
Yeah.
You know, the defense looked phenomenal. You know, we were able to control the ball. I mean, basically impose our will on them.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought it'd be more of a shootout, to be honest. But it was a blast. It was so much fun to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I wasn't expecting a shootout just because.
I take that back. I don't mean like a you know, like a 21-25 shootout. Just more like a kind of a. I guess that's not the word I'm looking for now. But go ahead. Yeah,
like a high scoring game.
No, not high school.
Oh, okay.
Like,
okay.
You know, 21-24, that kind of game. Sure. You know, where like we both kind of dink and dunk down the field, do our thing here and there. Some good plays by the defense, good plays by the offense. You know, but that didn't happen.
No. And you know, typically like a lot of offenses, like you saw it with the Bengals today, like Joe Burrow, I don't know what happened with him, but a lot of offenses are usually behind the defenses. You know what I mean? Especially in like the first couple of weeks of the season, then they like get into a rhythm and they start playing well and they start scoring more points. So that's why personally, I was expecting a low scoring game. I wasn't expecting the Packers to come out and put up 38, you know, and typically if you've looked at, you know, the Packers over the last 3-4 years, the first game of the season is always like an embarrassing loss.
Looks like dog shit.
I mean? Yeah. And I don't know. And we were just talking about it in the pre-show. Like, I don't know if that was an Aaron Rodgers thing or if it was a coaching thing, but whatever they did, they figured it out and they turned it around.
Because anymore. It's gone now.
Everybody was making plays. Devontae Wyatt, Devontae
Oh,
Wyatt.
I was yelling so loud at my buddies when he made that sack. I was so excited.
Absolutely. That strip sack, that was amazing. Devontae Wyatt was a menace on that defensive line. And the other thing I was thinking about too, with when you were saying like they weren't chucking it down the field, we have 2 really good corners.
Oh yeah. And they played so gosh darn good.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, I think teams are starting to recognize like, hey man, if we're gonna get big plays, like they're gonna have to scheme it up, or they're gonna have to do trick plays against them, because they are not going to be able to test our corners.
No. I just expected some shots downfield, I guess I should say. Not like, not that they would make these big plays, but like at least a few shots here and there downfield. It seemed like they didn't take, and I didn't see, I guess there were a few, but like the design runs for Justin Fields, it seemed like they weren't there either. It was weird, a weird game to me in that fact. Like it seemed like they were either we just shut them down that much or what, but I mean, that was the worst I've seen the Bears offense look in a long time.
For sure. It was
maybe it is because of our defense, but I'm not giving Joe Barry credit yet, so he can. I won't.
No, I mean it was just like what we were saying. I feel like every player on the team made a play. You know what I mean? It, like, whether it was on the defensive line with Kenny Clark or Devontae Wyatt, or like the corners like Jair didn't have an interception, but he was everywhere. Jair was incredible. You know, he had some key stops. Even Savage had that huge tackle.
He looked fucking awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, he had a couple of really good plays. Now, actually, the Rudy Ford did not have a good game.
No. Sorry, I was thinking of Keyshawn Nixon. Yeah, Rudy Ford he struggled.
Yeah, he couldn't make a tackle. I mean, there was some plays, like I feel like every play that the Bears had where they actually like did something, it was either against Keyshawn Nixon or Rudy Ford. And Keyshawn Nixon had a couple of plays himself, but like, that one touchdown, he just let the guy just run past him or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And you know what? Keyshawn Nixon, like, he's been mostly a special teams player. So like now he's getting his chance to play on defense. Like, that's fine. You know what I mean? He's a smart dude and he's a great football player. I'm sure, given the opportunity, he'll grow. You know what I mean? This is his first game playing at the star position. So, but other than that, I mean, literally everybody performed extremely well. The offensive line, they let up one sack. And honestly, Jordan Love held the ball a pretty long time.
Like, it was more of a covered sack than anything. I wouldn't call it like a
Jordan Love could have thrown that away. You know what I mean? Like, they could have had no sacks. The offensive line, they were incredible. Aaron Jones, really good at football.
Yeah, that guy doesn't stink.
Yeah,
he's awesome. The center play has to get better.
Yeah. Well, they had that one fumbled snap, but that was with the backup in. So I was like, okay, you never know like whose fault that was or whatever. But
I thought Zach Tom was going to play center. I was confused still by that. I think we'll find out more as we go, but I don't know if he will. He looked really good at right tackle, so he might not get to play center.
I mean, that one touchdown with Aaron Jones, it was because they went to the right side and he had a key block on that touchdown. I mean, they didn't score that touchdown without him playing right tackle. You know what I mean?
I thought early in the game we struggled. We could not run the ball to the left side, and it was almost like we just gave up on it, which we should have. But there was a couple of plays they ran to the left side, and it was like, why are you even trying? Why are we trying to run to the left side? Because they had such poor, there was nothing to it. It seemed like it was such a waste of time.
Well, the left side of our line is supposed to be the better side. Yeah, well, so I understand the thought process.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens going forward. Obviously, it's something to keep an eye on. But the right side, and I don't know if it was, the defense how they were lining up, but it seemed like to the right side and up the middle, we could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah. I mean, like we were talking about before, the Bears defensive line isn't really anything to write home about. You know what I mean? No. And actually, there was another thing I wanted to, because we were talking about chucking it down the field, that play to Luke Musgrave, where that's right. They actually had two snaps. that were fumbled, but Jordan Love picked it right up. And bro, like we were talking about that California cool, man. He just picked it up and it did not bother him. He just picked it up, knew where the play was going to go. It absolutely should have. Luke Musgrave had a couple of moments where he looked like a rookie out there, which is fine. You know what I mean? He literally is a rookie in the position that takes the longest to acclimate to the NFL. But yeah, I mean, he was backpedaling and then realized he was like, oh my God, I have to backpedal faster. And like when he caught it, like just kind of fell over himself because of how fast he was backpedaling. Like, you're absolutely right. That should have been a touchdown. And then when they chucked it down to him, like the dude was wide open. And he just didn't run to the right spot. You know what I mean? Like, he was expecting him to continue to run like into the zone that was open, but he just kind of like stayed flat on his route. I mean, if he caught that, that would have been another touchdown. Luke Musgrave should have had 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yes.
But he'll watch the tape, put it together, I'm assuming. You know what I mean? Like, the coach clearly loves the guy. They're dialing up plays for him, even as a first starting rookie. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So it was cool. It was cool to see Luke Musgrave get involved. And yeah, I mean, it's the first week. It's the first week.
You can't be happier with how the team as a whole performed. I mean, there were hiccups here and there, but I mean, as a whole, I mean, just to come out and just beat the fucking brakes off the Bears. I don't care. I just said the F word on live. I don't care. Just to do that makes any Packers fan so goddamn happy.
For sure.
You know, we've been hearing it all off season. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say much about it because I don't want to get into it. But like, we've been hearing it all off season. Fields, they got the parade route plan for the Super Bowl. They're going to win 12 games. Prove, where you at? By the way, you said I was going to hate you today. I forgot to even, I got to hit him up. You know, our guy from Plymouth House Money said I was going to hate him today. And I did not let him have it. So.
No, we're Packers fans. We can't do that. It's like,
I got to let him know a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But anyway,
it wouldn't be as bad.
He's lucky my phone died before we started this show, or I would have let him have it. Anyways, you know, we couldn't have asked for a better game as a whole. You know, there was a few hiccups here and there, but you know, I think it just seemed like I don't know. I'm not here to say like, oh yeah, we got, you know, loves the guy, but he looked pretty goddamn good today.
Well, yeah, I mean, so like just looking at it from a statistical standpoint, right? So obviously they put up that graphic during the game of Aaron Rodgers' first game back in 2008 against the Bears versus Jordan Love's. I mean, Jordan Love in the second half was surgical. He was 8 for 11, 2 touchdowns. He had a 154 passer rating in the second half. And like you saw this in the preseason too, like a lot of the first drives, they didn't really like amount to anything. He kind of starts slow and then he just started to put it together. Like they had the first drive where they scored the touchdown. And then the next couple of drives, you know, they weren't in a rhythm, you know, and you were like, uh-oh. But then, you know, once he turned on, like he was on for the rest of the game. Like he just, it was exactly like what we were talking about in the preseason, where it just seemed like he knew exactly what the defense was trying to do. He knew the concept. He knew where the ball needed to go. And it was just the only thing that was holding him back was some of the accuracy things, which we did see in this game. You know, he had a couple passes behind his receivers and stuff like that. But I mean, that's just going to come with more reps. You know what I mean? It was literally his first game as the anointed starter of the Green Bay Packers. So, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better game out of him. You know, no. He has the highest passer rating going into the game.
I mean, it could be 40-0 like it is the game we're watching right now, but
yeah, he had the most passing touchdowns of any quarterback going into the Sunday Night Football game. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I thought was really weird was at the end of the first half. It just seemed like they didn't really have a plan as to what they were doing. They just kind of let the time roll out.
I was losing my mind.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you going to use the timeout or not?" If you're not going to use the timeout, get up and do something, right? Like, but you know what?
Like 30 seconds click off the clock. It's almost like LaFuck was sitting there like, "Oh wait, hey, he's not going to make his own decision. It's not Aaron anymore. I need to call a play in and tell him what to do."
Right?
It's like he forgot what was going on. I lost my mind.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they thought that they had more time, that they'd be able to get up and run another play.
35 seconds clicked off the clock right there.
Right, yeah. No, I don't know. It just
that was
seemed
when the game
so
was a lot
weird.
closer. So I was like, what are you doing?
Right, because that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, dude, this is Durs. Like, get up, do a quick halfback draw or something to pick up a couple of yards to get it a little bit closer for him. But you know what? Durs right down the middle. Like, it didn't even matter.
Just money.
Didn't even matter. Now, if he missed the kick, we would have all been furious. But, Durs saved the day and kicked it. I mean, he was incredible. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. But, I mean, we could talk for hours about how it was so much fun to just beat the shit out of the Bears, but we should move on to week 2, unless you got a couple more notes.
No, it was just one other thing, like with the injury bug, like Jaden Reed, when he came down off that catch and he had that injury, it looked like he was holding his knee. It clearly wasn't anything serious because he was on a special teams rep later in the game.
He's fine.
So he's fine. So other than Aaron Jones, I think everybody came out unscathed, which is fantastic, going into next week's game against the Falcons. So
Dobbs looked fine. I assume Watson will be back. I hope.
Hopefully. You never know with a hamstring.
No, I am extremely nervous. Last year we had the hamstring or whatever the injury issues with Christian Watson. And,
it was his hamstring.
And here we are again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kept trying to keep thinking to myself like, it's not a big deal. Like, it'll be
right,
fine.
yeah, because look, hamstrings could be a 1 to 2 week thing. It could be
real full and never play.
Yeah, it could be a 4 to 6 week thing. Obviously, the more and more it happens, it could be pretty detrimental or whatever. But I'm sure, especially after this week, like if he's not ready to go next week, or if he's close to being ready, like maybe they just hold him back. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about all offseason. This season's really about the future. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, but
I still think they should trade for Mike Evans.
Oh my God. I had that exact thought today. That's so weird that you say that.
He's been my favorite player in the NFL for so long. Since he came out of Texas A&M and made Johnny Manziel who he was.
That's exactly what my thought process was. I was like, Mike Evans can make any quarterback look good. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and then with everything going on with his contract and stuff, I was like, yo, if they trade, Mike Evans is so good. Could you imagine him on the Packers? Oh my God.
I'd be so excited.
I don't even thrilled.
Yeah.
That's so funny that you thought of that.
Oh, I've been texting my buddy about it all, like for the last 2 days. We've been talking about it, but I mean it's not gonna happen. It is what it is. So no big deal.
All right, so looking forward to next week.
So moving on to heading to Atlanta to play Desmond Ridder and the Falcons. They won today. I had the score in my head, where they won 17-10 or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, a shitty game. Drake London had 0 points, so I'm not really worried about him. No catches. He played 90% of the snaps. Didn't have a catch.
Yeah, that's not great.
Bijan looked very, very good.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell what their defense really looked like because they're playing Bryce Young. And nothing against Bryce Young. He had some very good drives, put some good numbers together. But, obviously first game, so we don't know what we're going to see. But the Falcons defense is improved a lot from last year. They brought in some pieces. But
a lot of pieces.
I hope it's not a letdown week for us after, such a big dominant performance. But I feel very, very good going into Atlanta. I think we talked about earlier in the year how, like, if we could string a few wins together, we could be like, 5-1, 4-2 after 6 games, like, looking pretty gosh darn good. So this is, the Falcons game, especially, I'll be honest, yesterday I was very concerned, thinking just nervous, weapon wise. Didn't know about Romeo Dobbs. Watson obviously out. Very, very nervous. But I'm, whether or not Watson's in or out, I'm pretty confident going into week 2.
I was going to say, if there was anything to take away from this game, like I remember when I was doing my picks, I picked the Packers to go 9-8. I picked them to actually lose to the Falcons because the Falcons' biggest strength is the Packers' biggest weakness, especially after drafting Bijan. And I just thought, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be an ugly game. on the defensive side of the ball for the Packers. But I mean, the Packers defense, I mean, how can you come out of this game and not think that they're much more improved? And they're still going up against, he is a first year starter, the quarterback for the Falcons, Desmond Ridder.
The Riddler.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers win next week, because they just need to play them like how they played Tennessee last year, play to stop the run, make that quarterback try to beat you. And guess what? We have the corners to lock up any of those receivers, whether it's
apparently Drake London doesn't even show up to the goddamn game. So
right.
It's Kyle Pitts and Bijan.
Right. Yeah. So, but it doesn't matter. You could put Jair on anybody. They could be 6'6" or 5'6". Jair is going to cover. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't matter. We have the corners to stop anybody. They just need to play to stop the run, and they should be successful. And I feel like that was how they played the Bears today, and the Bears only scored 14 points. So if we can score 20 every week, at least 20, we should be fine, especially against the Falcons.
Yeah, and I think. I don't know. I was trying to tune in early in the day. I was trying to get all my chores done so I could watch all the game, but watching the Falcons, it was a weird game. There was a few runs Bijan had where I was like, God damn, like that, like he's a stud, and we know he is, but Ridder is obviously not, he's not Justin Fields. He's not going to run like him. He's more of I don't want to say he's a game manager. But he can make some good throws. He can move a little bit, but he's not Justin Fields. So
right.
That obviously helps the defense a lot.
100%.
And maybe Drake London gets more involved. And the Falcons defense is much improved, but I still think we're kind of I'm trying to think of the word to use here, but like we have a little bit of an advantage because Jordan Love is still kind of new.
Right.
New.
There's not a lot of tape on him. Exactly.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So I'm pretty confident going into even though Art Smith does have a sweet mustache. Did you see it?
Yeah. Yeah. I almost didn't recognize him at first.
Nice goddamn mustache.
I was like, who's that handsome man on
the side? Looking good. Looking good. Yeah, but it
was pretty cool.
It's fun. I'm sorry. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by this. I can't believe the Cowboys just beat the absolute shit out of the Giants. Sorry, Joe. 40-0.
Yeah, this is one of those teams. The Giants are one of those teams. It was like when I was going through picking every game that we're going to play this year, I was like, I don't know what Giants team is going to show up this year. You know what I mean? It was actually really funny.
Actually, shoulder pads on.
Kay Adams had a tweet the other day. It was, I'm going to be interviewing Daniel Jones. Is there any questions that you want me to ask him? So I commented underneath it. I was like, why don't you ask him how it feels to be the most overpaid player in the NFL?
Whoa, hey now, easy, Bobby. He's not the most overpaid player.
Oh, who was a bigger case than him?
Well, give me a minute, but they didn't have a choice.
I mean, $40 million a year,
Well, I mean, Kirk Cousins makes a shit ton of money. They got beat by the goddamn Buccaneers today.
They absolutely did. But yeah, Kirk Cousins at least scored.
He's getting $60 million next year.
Yeah. True.
Anyways,
all right.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm pumped. It was a week one could not have gone any better.
Yep.
The Lions win
next week,
and the Packers win. So yeah, we're. I mean, like I said, I didn't know what to expect coming into the day. Couldn't have gone any better, obviously. Right. And we'll see what happens next week. Hopefully Watson's back and Aaron Jones is okay. I think he's going to be fine, obviously.
Yeah, hopefully.
But we'll find out. So, yeah, I'm pumped. We will see you all next Sunday, probably, maybe, hopefully a little earlier. I couldn't get my kid to bed, so I couldn't come on quite as early as I wanted to. But we'll be back next Sunday, hopefully after another Packers win in Atlanta.
Absolutely. Go Pack, go.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you check out all our shows. Like I said, 17 shows is wild to me. But yeah, check out all our shows on YouTube, please. Apple Podcasts, if that's where you're checking them out. Give us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. check out our Patreon, patreon.com/titles. Tons of tiers. We're doing giveaways every single month. Giving away gift cards to Homage. I can't remember all the places we're doing giveaways to, but just literally free money. Like spend $1.50 a month, get a chance to win some free money. So check it out. Hit us up if you got any questions about it. Join us on Gilded. Yeah, all over the place. So, anyways, check us out. Go Pack Go. And Bobby, got anything else?
No, I'm looking forward to Atlanta.
Hey, we'll see you next Sunday after another win, right?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow.